we please have order? We have students that are approaching the mic and are about to speak, and our students deserve respect.
Hello, Tanasia Brown, Newark Student Union, 30 Clinton Street, you know where to find me. Let's begin. To Cami Anderson, I have a mind of my own. The student union has a mind of their own. The students were coached by adults. No, the students were autonomous in decision making, an autonomous decision to fight against the outside forces that invade and try to sell Newark. Newark is not a commodity. Public education is dying. We are still being underfunded. Teachers are still being fired left and right without reason or justification. There is no justification because it's just not just. Reform, renew. Rhetoric to keep us in the dark and bury us deeper into an oppressive pit. And let's not get it twisted, Cami. You're not a surgeon. This is not the operating room. And as you can see, we have our hands tied here together today. We will not be moved just as we wouldn't move Edna sitting on Wednesday. The tying of our hands symbolize how we have little power under the Cami administration. It's a manifestation of our presence. It shows how we're being ignored and silenced and treated as zombies to the system. When we untie our hands, it symbolizes that we're done, that we are not zombies. We're here standing and speaking out as always. To our community, we have one word: solidarity. We have nothing to lose but our chains. Oh, and another thing, just today you'll see a bunch of different demonstrations by the Newark Student Union and solidarity, peace, love.
Mr. Maldonado.
I think you guys are going to enjoy this. We have gathered here today to discuss the attack on public education. Public education has been beaten, bruised, and brutalized while only trying to improve its schools. The person who committed said crimes, Cami Anderson. The case is Cami versus the students, with the jury being the community members of Newark, New Jersey. She is charged on 3 different accounts. Count 1, first-degree murder. The closing and selling of 18th Avenue School, she has killed the school and has forced hundreds of young students to travel farther than their neighborhoods. Count 2, first-degree theft. The reallocation and diversion of public funds towards charter schools, she has stolen public money to fuel her bonuses and her darling charter schools. Count 3, first-degree assault and battery. Newark Public Schools has taken a massive beating at the hands of Cami Anderson and her gang of consultants. The case has been presented to the jury several times before. How does the jury find Cami Anderson on count 1, first-degree murder? How does the jury find Cami Anderson count 2, first-degree theft? How does the jury find Cami Anderson on count 3, first-degree assault and battery? Based on accounts presented, Cami Anderson is charged with her immediate resignation, the halt of her destructive One Newark plan, and the implementation of the Newark Promise Plan. It is clear that the community and students have to take matters into their own hands in order to prevent such heinous crimes from ever occurring again. Thank you very much. My name is Hector Maldonado, and we have nothing to lose but our chains.
So I see that you all came together in order, but the names aren't in order on the list. But next up, I believe, is Mr. Jeremiah Akoto.
All right. Good evening, all. My name is Jeremiah Akoto, and I'm currently a 10th grader that attends Newark Public Schools. I believe that many issues have been discussed about what is wrong with the Newark One Plan and why we believe that the Newark Promise Plan should be implemented immediately. Many issues such as budgeting, transportation, and education as a whole need to be changed. As a member of the Newark Student Union, I believe that it's Newark's best interest that we have our great city handed back to us and not in the hands of the state. As for what I believe in the sense of how we are portrayed, we are not pawns of adults. The student union has autonomy and we work together with the community as a whole. We are the Newark Student Union, and we stand up and fight back. We have nothing to lose but our chains.
I'm
Ms.
Aracelis
Aracelis Checo.
I'm Aracelis Checo. I'm with the Newark Students Union. And the only reason we're in this position is because some of the people in this room and Kemi Anderson have been acting like children. So I drew up a book for you guys. This is a visual example of the One Newark plan. Okay. As you see, the One Newark plan is chaining this community. So you know what I say to chains? Local control will break these chains and we'll be freed. Once we have local control and Kemi Anderson to resign, we'll be free. We have nothing to lose but our chains.
Next, we have Mr. Jose. Jose Leonardo.
Yes.
Sorry about that.
Good day to all of the parents, teachers, students, organizers, cafeteria workers, janitors, administrators, and Newarkers alike in attendance. My name is Jose Leonardo, and I am a member of the Newark Students Union, an organization that has done more for this city in 2 years than what the state has done in 20. The Newark Students Union is a grassroots political movement founded by and for the Newark students with the goals of protecting student rights, ensuring we receive a quality education, and empowering the student voice in the political process. In other words, we make a lot of noise. Not because we love making noise, but because we have a reason to be upset. Schools are being privatized, our schools are being underfunded, our teachers are being fired, or as they say, in the process of renewal. Our curriculums are being dumbed down right in front of our eyes. The current administration continues to make decisions for the people instead of with the people. And our message is clear: enough is enough. You guys are our leaders, right? So I've got a quick lesson for you guys. Leaders represent the needs of the people they serve. We want schools, not empty buildings. We want knowledge and empowerment, not standardized tests and a docile conformity to a system that obviously isn't for us. At the end of the day, the power lies within us, and this is a message for everyone in attendance. It's just a matter of realizing it, and we, the students, have already realized it. Join us. Change is possible only if we all believe in it. Believe in Newark. If they believed in us, none of this would ever happen. Change would have already happened. In their eyes, it's just a cycle, the same cycle that we have been forced to endure for too long already. When we're gone, they stay. So let's reverse that. For which is why today we are passing the torch to each and every person inside these walls as well as outside. My name is Jose Leonardo, and just like the rest of Newark, we have nothing to lose but the ropes that bind us from the same opportunities others receive. We have nothing to lose but our chains. Thank you.
Miss Tiana Williams.
Yeah, that's me. My name's Tiana Williams. I'm a Newark student representative, 30 Clinton Street. Originally, I was gonna speak about Teach for America, but at the last minute, I decided to change my topic. I wrote a poem for you guys. You guys gonna listen? We just feel like there's nobody there. We just feel like that nobody cares. We try to talk, but they don't want to listen. So we'll stand up and we'll stand out. We'll show you guys what we're all about. If they care, then maybe they'll listen. But if not, when they're gone, we're not going to miss them. This is unjust. We are the future. Why don't you guys have faith in us? My name is Tiana Williams, and we have nothing to lose but our chains.
Miss Kristen Taconic.
Great. So, I'm here to really just wrap up everything that's been happening in the past week. This last week has literally been crazy for some people. So, last week, we staged a sit-in at the business meeting at the board. We did not only stage a sit-in, but we staged a shutdown of the board meeting. This has only been done 2 times in the history of the board, and it isn't something to be taken lightly. We have tried and tried and tried, and we spoke at so many of these community participation segments, but we're still not being listened to. You hear us, but you don't listen to us. So we decided that if you're not gonna listen to us, we're not gonna listen to you anymore. The Newark Students Union is here to stay, and our demands stand. We had a meeting today with Commissioner of Education, David Hespy. And yeah, the meeting might have went well for Rashawn, but for us, we have a different perspective. The meeting wasn't a complete waste. We did open dialogue and hopefully form new relationships. But at the end of our day, our demands were still pushed to the side like they have been time after time. It's time for us to stop getting pushed around by these adults and standing and keeping our footing strong. That's why we're here again today. Also, I want to mention briefly that we do stand in solidarity with the university students. I think it's really important to realize if they do it at university, what's stopping them from doing it at Arts High School or Science Park High School or Behringer or any other school or Westside or Weequahic or Shabazz? If there's at American History High School, what's stopping them? There's nothing stopping Cammie Anderson and her little posse. Shout out to Khadijah. But so the main thing that I want to end with is that we're not going away. Okay. We've been here. The community has been here for a lot longer than we have, and they're still here. And I think it's really important that we end on a positive note. We are breaking free from our chains. The Cammie Anderson can no longer hold us together by her One Newark plan. We are breaking free. And in closing, I'd like to start a solidarity chant. We have a duty to fight. We have a duty to win. We must love and protect one another. We have nothing to lose but our chains. We have a duty to fight. We have a duty to win. We must love and protect one another. We have nothing to lose but our chains. By the way, that was the last for the student participation from the Newark Students Union.
Kristen, I couldn't hear you.
The other students who were signed up from the Newark Student Union will not be speaking. This was the last speech.
All right, thank you. So on our sign-in sheet, obviously the students weren't identified as being members of the Newark Student Union, just being students, so I still have to go through this list and read the names in case some of these speakers are here. Tiffany Fotopoulos, Kevin Sedano, Anthony Carey, Anton Daniels, Cindy Guaman, she's here but she didn't want to speak. Zadira Williams, Alejandra Urgelis. Okay, and that's it. Thank you. The next speaker that we have is Sharonda Davis. The next speaker after Miss Sharonda Davis is Suzette Huff.
Good afternoon, board members.
Good evening, Ms. Davis.
I would like to know why the board haven't let Newark Night School know they are closing or not. Haven't heard anything since February. This is why I needed to stay open. I didn't take high school seriously. I dropped out at 16 years old. I'm a student now at Westside Night School. I never wanted something so bad than to get my diploma. When my 9-year-old asked me did I graduate, I was embarrassed. But now I tell my baby every day how much I enjoy Newark Night School. Cammie, please take into consideration to keep night school open. Now, why do we got to pay for camp and enroll our kids for summer school online? Why the teacher can't pick the students for summer school? I'm a single parent with a set income of child support a month. I can't afford $350 for camp. After my son get out of summer school, for Cammie to neglect the Newark Board of Education meetings, she just don't neglect the meetings. Go to 2 Cedar Street to see her, make an appointment. You can't. Been there and done that. And I'm sick and tired of Cammie lack of participation and consideration in the meetings. If you can't stand the heat, Cammie, do yourself a favor and get out.
Thank you, Ms. Davis. So the information that we received tonight from the public regarding Newark Evening, Ms. Matthias is going to take that. I just want to ask, is your information that you provided for us on this contact list, is that a good number for Ms. Matthias to use to get in contact with you? Yes. All right, Ms. Matthias, you take that and as a follow-up to make sure that communication comes from you. Okay. If you could, for us, also please give your email address to Ms. Valerie Merritt, who's sitting right here in the front row. Thank you. Next speaker we have is Ms. Suzette Huff.
How you doing? My name is Suzette Huff. And I go to North Westside Night School, right? Like, I need to tell y'all, right? I don't understand, right? Like, I work hard to go to this school. It took a lot of courage for me at my age to turn around and go back to school, right? Like, I need a high school diploma, not a GED, right? I go to school every day, right? And like, for Cammie Anderson to come in and like shut us down for no reason, because the teachers at night school help us daily. Like, all the staff at Westside Night School do what they need to do for us. We are learning there, so there's no need for her to shut us down like that. Like, I work hard. Everybody that's in this room work hard. Even the kids at the school work hard, right? And I just know, like, Cammie Anderson is not the right person for this job. See, they need to fire her. She do not need to be here. Like, I don't know about nothing else, but what I do know is that I want this so badly, I can taste it. That's what I know right now. Not only can I taste it, I can see my future going further, because I have some dreams, right? Like, I'm not the person that I used to be. I'm the person I am today. And I really, really need this. So I need Cammie Anderson to resign as of today.
The next speaker we have is Jolie Williams. Jolie Williams. Next speaker, Christine Taylor, CASA.
Good evening. And the children will lead the way. I am a very emotional person, and what has come before has kind of hit me. But I am so impressed with the children from the Students' Union, and I am also extremely impressed with Mr. Dylan Thomas this evening. And I wanted to recognize his parents. The administrators at university pointed them out to me, and I would like the audience to recognize Mr. and Mrs. Thomas, who have raised the most wonderful son, and we wish you every single success and happiness. And my son went to Princeton. So as the former principal of Science High School, I think you only did one thing wrong as parents. You sent them to university and not to science. But just last month, okay, when national high school rankings were released, University High School was awarded a national silver medal and was included among the top 10% of the high schools across the country. In most performance areas, the New Jersey Department of Education ranks university as high or very high. Yet the state-appointed superintendent and her subordinates chose to, without producing any evidence, disrupt this excellent school. They take no thought of humane or professional treatment of educational leaders. They don't care that students will lose role models and mentors. They have no regard for young adults and parents who selected university as their school of choice, in part because of the leadership there. CASA asks you, the advisory board, to advocate in any way you can to ensure the return of Principal Sharp and her team. I plan to begin my remarks tonight, I guess I did a little bit, by recognizing and thanking the Newark Student Union for their outstanding demonstration of courage and solidarity last week. Their actions and their voices captured the attention of media, both nationwide and around the country, except for our local Star Ledger, who never reports anything about Newark. They helped expose the facts about the destruction of public education in Newark. I believe that in addition to their commitment to truth, logic, and fearlessness, one of the reasons that their movement is so successful is because everybody wants to hear what kids have to say. That is, everybody except Cammie Anderson. And now the best thing that's happened since the last advisory board meeting, CASA takes great pleasure in congratulating our member principal on leave, Raz Baraka, on his election as mayor of Newark. We are extremely proud of our brother and know that we are looking toward a city government that supports true public education and one which will lead the fight for a return to local control for our schools. The district has spent $30,000 with the new teacher project, one of Cammie's allies, to have students waste time filling out a survey. I took some of the questions from the first and second grade part of the survey, and I'm answering them as if Cammie Anderson were the teacher. Do you have fun learning from this teacher? No. Is your teacher nice when you ask questions? No. Are you happy when you are in class with this teacher? No. Does your teacher help you do your best? No. Does your teacher listen to your ideas? No. She has an odd perspective on rating and evaluations. If students don't achieve in the way she thinks they should, it's the teacher's fault. If teachers don't produce the results she wants, it's the administrator's fault. But if the district doesn't move forward, it's not her fault. The responsibility always moves upward until it gets to her, and then she just finds someone to blame, administrators to fire, teachers to put on oops, and schools to close. But she is responsible. She's been here 3 years too long, and has nothing to show for it but chaos, destruction, and failure. It's time for her to go. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Taylor. Next, we have Joe Del Grasso, NTU, followed by Mr. Joseph A. McCullum.
Good evening, Mr. President, good members of the board.
Good evening, sir.
Good people of Newark, and the wonderful students that I had a chance to listen to tonight. I'd be remiss as president of the union if I didn't say to you students, thank you so much for the kind remarks that you made about your teachers. Teachers really look forward to hearing from their students, and your remarks are what makes the big difference in our lives. I wanted to read you an email that I got from one of my trusted friends, and also he's the building rep at university. Dear Joe, unfortunately, he was not able to speak tonight because he wasn't able to get his name on the speakers list, even though what happened at the University High School would have merited him being on the speakers list, I think. And it says, on Friday, May 23rd, Brad Haggerty, assistant superintendent, came to University High School of the Humanities to officially notify the administrative staff that they would be dismissed from their positions at the school, and they wanted to go into a new direction for university. I guess going down is good in school stuff, right? At this time, there has been no discussion by the district administration with the staff, students, and parents who are the stakeholders of the school. This again reflects the total disrespect of the school community and the city of Newark as a whole. To target University High School, a high-performing school in this manner, speaks volumes about the way that Tammy Anderson administration about dialogue, but makes decision behind the backs of the stakeholders. Furthermore, as we have indicated at previous board meetings, this seems to be part of an attempt to destroy the character of the magnet school. Sometimes which we call upon the Board of Education to investigate. We totally oppose the decision and furthermore call on the board to oppose it also. Yours truly, Jose Velasquez. Thank you, Jose. Let me say that there is not a lot left to say because we've come to that road that says there's only one other thing that can happen, and that thing is that Tammy Anderson must leave. There's no way back. There's a part in the Bible, I believe in Ecclesiastics, if I'm not mistaken, in Ecclesiastics 3, that talks about that there's a time for everything. That there's a time to grow and a time to reap. There's a time to live, there's a time to die. There's a time to mourn, and as we saw here this evening, a time to dance. And let me say to Miss Anderson, there was a time 3 years ago that you came, and now today, there's a time for you to leave. There is no way, as the president of the Newark Teachers Union, that I could stand before you and tell you that school will open in September if that monster resides in Newark. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen without putting us in jail. That's not going to happen without hurting some of us, because we are not going to tolerate another year of the Anderson reign of terror. It's over. I may not be Moses, but I'm pretty old. And I know a few plagues that I can bring upon this district, and I don't want to do it, only because I love Newark too much and I love its people. But let me tell you, the midnight train to Georgia is warming up, and it's time for Cammie to get on that midnight train. Toot, toot.
Thank you, Mr. Del Grasso. Mr. Rashidi, if you would, please, I want to refer that request to you, the investigation of the renewal of the staff members of University High School. If you could work to investigate that and come back with some information so that we can report back to Mr. Del Grasso and the rest of the community members, I think that would be greatly appreciated, sir. Thank you. Next speaker we have right now is Joe McCullum, followed by Mr. Frank Adeo.
Good evening, everyone. You know, I'm sitting here and I'm very disappointed by some of the things I've heard. I'm very impressed with the NSU. I'm very impressed with the things they said. And one of the things that I realized that things haven't changed much. I remember sitting at a meeting when Ms. Anderson first came to Newark in the municipal council, and some residents came in and wanted to ask her some questions. And Councilman Payne stopped them from asking her the questions, and she grabbed her bag and ran out of the council chambers. And I guess she hasn't stopped running yet. Unbelievable, unbelievable. I just want to say, listen, I'm running with Team Baraka. I'm on Team Baraka, and it's for a reason. Yeah, I do believe in Newark, and you can rest assured, if we pay 15% of the budget, we're going to have some accountability. The board is going to have some accountability, and the superintendent is going to have some accountability, because this is ridiculous. I've born and raised in Newark, went to school all my life in Newark. I haven't met a bad teacher. Taught in Essex County, all of a sudden the teachers are bad now. And they're important from all over the country here, where the teachers from here can't get a job. Well, if we have anything to say about it, rest assured that we're going to do something about it, because enough is enough. We all have to be accountable. I have to be accountable. Ms. Anderson definitely has to be accountable, and the board has to be accountable. We're going to tie this all together as a community and move forward, because we can do better than this. The students deserve better than this. My tax dollars deserve better than this. And I want you guys to know that we're not up here, you know, we're not running and trying to get in office just to be getting in office, but there's a lot of work to do, and we plan on doing the work. I want to thank you guys, and good luck. We're going to move forward as a community. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next speaker, Frank Adeo, followed by Stadia McGaney. Again, Frank Adeo, followed by Stadia McGaney.
Good evening, board members. My name is Frankie Deo. I'm the president of the Newark Parents Union.
Good evening.
Good evening. Just to clear up two statements, one statement made by Mr. Rashidi about Reuben Roberts lies. He promised our VP, Hassan Manning, who is president of Maple Avenue PTA, a walkthrough. That was at a roundtable on March 4th, and Maple Avenue still has not gotten that walkthrough. Two, for Cammie, if you think the NSU walkout last week was organized by adults, the demonstration, here today shows you that the bright young minds of this city are able to organize and mobilize all by themselves. And if she knew anything about her students, she would know they are unable to be chained. Tonight I want to speak about match letters. If these match letters are the indication of how fall 2014 will be, the chaos will be definitely upon us come first day of school year next year. Parents are again being shunned out, as some of us are hearing dedicated parent liaisons are being told they need to reapply for their positions. For some parents, they are the only portal inside of those schools. Because I can tell you, parent questions at any level, whether it be superintendent to the board to the school level, are not really welcomed. Parents who question and don't conform like little lambs, we are not welcomed. These match letters prove that One Newark plan, or scam as I call it, is ill-conceived. Our parents should not be placed based on, our students, should not be placed based on algorithms. Take Jazz Lee, for example. Her mother, Jasmine, who is here, they're here today with us, submitted an application in round 1. She was told that her daughter was in a transition to 7th grade, and she would have to, transition out of her school. Since science, was her first choice, she selected Newark Early Childhood College, for her second choice, and she basically got back that her daughter had to go to Newark Early Childhood and not, Newark College instead of science, and then they moved it to West Side, which basically now is 2 buses away from where she is now. She is a disabled mom, a single mom, and now she's being forced to go into round 2. Well, ding ding, mom has already been beat up with a KO from round 1 and doesn't want to go through round 2. So what is the board, what is the Newark Public Schools, what is Cammie Anderson, Commissioner Hespy going to do for parents like Jasmine, whose mom, who works hard and her daughter has great grades and should be going to science? She's placed in an algorithm, whether she should be going into that school and talking to the administration and showing the administration what she's about. She's being robbed away from that. And if you think that protests are going to stop, they are not going to stop. They are just going to continue as long as we keep Cammie Anderson and the One Newark program in place. We need to support the Newark Promise, parents, the Newark Promise. It's a community program. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you, Mr. Adele. Ms. Stadia McGaney. Ms. Grace Sergio.
Hi, my name is Grace Sergio, and I live at 115 Clinton Place. There are many stakeholders who are already having a profound effect on the lives of our 38,000 Newark Public School students, whose futures depend on them. Some are from Newark, but most are not. We must continually ask ourselves, are our children's lives improved by our actions or inactions, or further damaged? What is it that the only stakeholders who were willing to stand up for our children is a group of courageous high schoolers? Where are the adults? There is not one person in this room who does not want educational reform in Newark. And there is not a single one of us who wants to return to the status quo. Likewise, there is not one of us who believes that the One Newark is the correct answer for Newark. The term One Newark has become an excruciating reminder that not one Newark native was a part of its conception. While there is a war to be won, there is a battle for Hawthorne Avenue that deserves a quick win. The children of Hawthorne Avenue are not waiting for Superman. They know better. But they are waiting for the new advisory board president to follow through on his pledge to save their school. The administration, staff, and parents of Hawthorne Avenue were thrilled by the visit of so many concerned board members. Mr. Hassan, in each classroom that you entered, you exited leaving behind a beam of hope. You filled the shoes as their champion, who was committed to rising above politics in order to do the right thing. You have since made it clear that when you said that you pledged to save Hawthorne, that what you really meant You were committed to ensuring that the new inheritors, Team Academy and Brick Academy, would continue to use Hawthorne Avenue name. In other words, you were committed to supporting Cammie Anderson's One Newark plan. You see, children are not politically savvy. What they heard you say, we have to find a way to save this school. What they heard was that, number one, that they could return to their neighborhood school next fall. Number two, their younger siblings could return to their neighborhood schools next fall. Number three, they would be greeted next fall by the administration and staff who have lovingly and masterfully guided their academic success. They were groundbreaking students who deserve recognition, not relocation. 1 month ago, I asked you to join the growing fight to save Hawthorne, and you publicly agreed. My question to you tonight is simply, what message do you want me to share with the children tomorrow morning? Are you still the champion of action or just another silver-tongued politician? What do you say?
So, Ms. Sergio, as you just stated, I did make that pledge, and my first step was to obviously come to Hawthorne Avenue School along with some other board members to meet with you and Mr. Grady James. I've also had 2 meetings with Superintendent Anderson about the state of Hawthorne Avenue School, and I sent the email to Mr. James asking him for a follow-up meeting, and I have not received a response back from Mr. James at this point in time. I do have some additional information that I would like to share with you and Mr. James, and if we could set up a meeting so that I can come to Hawthorne Avenue School and share that information with you.
When would you like to do that?
As soon as possible. If tomorrow works for you, I can be at Hawthorne Avenue School.
Tomorrow at 1?
Tomorrow at 1 o'clock.
All right. We'll see you there.
Next speaker we have on our list is Ms. Frida Barrow.
Good evening. My name is Frida Barrow, 20 Irving Ave and 333 Clinton Place. Both addresses have the same zip code. I have been teaching at George Washington Carver Elementary School for 15 years, and I've been a witness to the transformation of a school. In my professional opinion, Dr. Winston Jackson is a highly effective administrator. George Washington Carver was once considerably dangerous. Dr. Jackson immediately began to implement programs such as Picture Me Tomorrow with the Art of Survival, our male and female empowerment programs, and the Franklin Covey educational program, The Leader in Me, just to name a few. I have already watched the transformation of George Washington Carver Elementary School. All 3 of my children attended George Washington Carver Elementary School. They are all productive citizens with no criminal records. I chose to send my own brown babies to their neighborhood school, the school nearest to their home, for reasons I don't have to explain to anyone, but I choose to. I live in what many consider to be one of the most dangerous neighborhoods in one of the nation's most violent cities in America. My own son has been beaten and robbed by gang members on the corner of Leslie Street and Hawthorne Avenue as he walked with his younger sisters after school, no more than a 15-minute walk from his home and school. He has had guns pointed in his face on more than one occasion as he traveled to and from. One of my daughters once had her hair ripped out of her scalp by a classmate on a 3-minute walk home from school. My point is that children who are required to attend school outside of their neighborhood would need to navigate through these kinds of dangers and more. I am now the grandmother of 2 beautiful brown babies. One of them is a very special needs student at 13th Avenue School. My granddaughter did not speak for 3 years. Once she was placed in Miss Baskerville's class, she not only began talking, but she began reading and writing and singing and learning. Unfortunately, 13th Avenue School has been renewed. Since the renewal, principals have come and gone. My granddaughter has a new teacher now, one who has never taught special needs students before in her young life. One who, these little ones require an excellent teacher with real experience. My granddaughter's teacher idea of effective classroom management is to repeatedly call my son while he's on his job. Effective veteran teachers don't need to repeatedly call parents to do their job. So I say no to the One Newark plan. Take it to Livingston, where Governor Christie attended school, or take it to Montclair or Glen Ridge for that matter. As an educator, a parent, a grandparent, an active community member, a Newark resident and law-abiding, tax-paying citizen of the state of New Jersey, I say no to the One Newark plan. It puts our children in greater danger. It is a waste of our precious time and tax dollars. I don't want any part of it, especially since no one asked me what I thought of it or how I felt about it. I know firsthand some of the dangers of this One Newark plan. I was one of those brown babies once bused into hostile communities back in the 1960s. I am only one in Newark, but I am perfectly capable of contributing to the conversation and decision-making process about what's best for my family, school, and community. Thank you very much. And for my brown baby sister here, shout out for Newark Vocational High School. What's happening with that? Thank you very much.
Next speaker, we have Deborah Smith-Gregory, followed by Kathleen O'Prey.
Good evening. My name is Deborah Smith-Gregory. I serve as the president of the Newark branch NAACP, 454 Washington Street in Newark. I did send this letter to the board. The one board member, Donald Jackson, came back. I'll resend it because I didn't realize that there was a G with the D so that you can receive this letter. But I also have hard copies that I will give to the board. I'll give to Martha. Dear Chairman Hassan, I read your public letter and felt compelled to respond to it. You stated the media did not paint a true picture of the events and omitted key facts surrounding the student sit-in and actions that were taken at the May 20th business meeting. You also stated it is important that the truth be provided and met head-on with facts, and I agree wholeheartedly. Fact number one, students were not treated with the utmost respect and provided with dinner and breakfast. The district supplied no food or drink. There was even an initial attempt not to feed the students. You can see YouTube video, NSU occupies overnight 2 Cedar Street, 5/2014. Fact number two, the community fed the children. Food came from board member Lewis, college students, community residents, and even the mayor-elect who came to ensure the well-being of the students. District administrators controlled the disbursement of food, and some donated food never reached the students. Fact three, the community brought water and juice that was initially sequestered in the security office downstairs, then the communications office. Students only received the donated water after board member Richardson made the request. Breakfast for the students also came from the community, who came to the board at 7 a.m. Fact four, while concerned community and numerous elected officials, including yourself, stayed well after midnight, you did not stay the entire 17 hours with the students as you stated in your public letter. Board member Richardson, community activist Roberta Cabañas, and I were the only adults outside the district administration who stayed until the morning. However, the main issue, the students came to present the Newark Promise Plan to the superintendent along with signatures from the residents who support it. She left the plan on the table as she left the meeting. You, however, noted that you met with the students, reviewed the plan with them, and communicated your support of their plan. We are glad to know that you do support the community's Newark Promise Plan that is an alternative to the One Newark Plan. We look forward to future communications from you that are based on truth and accuracy. We also welcome your active participation, ensuring the implementation of the Newark Promise. Respectfully submitted.
So, thank you for the remarks that you provided. I think could probably go back and forth about and agree to disagree on what was stated in terms of the events that occurred, but thank you for sharing your thoughts tonight. Next speaker is Ms. Kathleen O'Prey, followed by Famida Islam.
Kathleen O'Prey, 331 Academy Terrace, Linden. Good evening, everyone. Once again, I come before you to speak for the children in pre-K. I'm pleading with you to help the children and families in the South and Central Ward keep their neighborhood schools, including classes for 3- and 4-year-olds. Do not let One Newark abandon us and relegate pre-K to substandard buildings. There are schools with existing classrooms where pre-K can flourish at George Washington Carver, Spencer, Belmont Runyon, Quitman, Cleveland, Tubman, and Speedway. Pre-K has made a difference to the success of children in Newark. For that to continue, pre-K 3 and 4 must be in every neighborhood school. Pre-K must be accessible to all, including families that depend upon New Jersey Transit and single-parent families. The district is in a budget crisis of its own making. When you plan to spend millions to renovate ill-chosen old buildings for early childhood centers, instead of using existing classrooms designed for pre-K, you add to that crisis. I first stated my concerns to Ms. Anderson about pre-K being located in appropriate classrooms the summer of 2004 when she visited George Washington Carver. That year, she held 2 meetings for teachers to share their concerns. At both those meetings, I voiced my concerns that all pre-K classrooms should only be open where they could meet ECHRT standards. Since then, the input of teachers has not been sought. As a society is judged by the way it treats its poor, I believe a school system should be judged by the way it treats its children. I believe our children will look back at this time and wonder at the disregard and disrespect that was given to them by the teachers, and I'm sorry, not by the teachers, but by the leaders of the district. What they will ask, was this about education or profit? We have a choice. I believe that history will look at this time in Newark as a time of progress or as a step towards ending a free public education for all. I leave you with this quote: "The hottest place in hell is reserved for those who remain neutral in times of great conflict." Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr.
Thank you. Next speaker we have Famida Islam. Next speaker, Vanessa Roper. Next speaker, Veronica Branch.
Good evening, Veronica Branch, 121 Leslie, represent Burgaw Avenue School. First, let me say this, as of today, Burgaw is on number 14 of students coming back. We still have not received the check. Okay, now that's out the way. What is this? What school will I go to? Where are my kids? Why are my kids all over the place? How will I get them to school and pick them up? Why am I not allowed to go to public school? I'm a straight A student. Why I can't go to a magnet school? These are some of the questions that parents and students have been asking me since they received their match letters. Children are in tears and scared beyond belief. We live in a school district in which majority of our children are Black and Latino. Yet you have allowed this woman to come in here and destroy this city so you can have a room inside the plantation house. The backroom deals and kicks underneath the table will not work for our children. You may not care about these children, but I do. This board needs to get that house Negro mentality out of their head and fight for these babies. They have come into this city to dumb down education and create a cradle to prison pipeline. I don't care what you think it should be, it doesn't change the reality of what is. Our children deserve better. So if you're not gonna stand up and fight for them, get off the board now. This is not about increasing your resume or boosting your egos. You have no right to have benefited from public education and come sit on the Newark School Board and say the heck with everyone else, I got mine. Our parents have been lied to. Kids have been forced to fill out information that parents have no knowledge of. What's going on in Newark is on all of your heads. Everyone up there has a responsibility to our children, and if you don't live up to it, you might as well have blood on your hands. Parents have a right to know what's going on and where their children will be attending school next year. This One Newark plan is a disaster, and kids will get harmed in the streets if this plan is pushed through. This board better wake up and stop trying to boost your ego with titles, because if Cammie gets her way, Newark won't need a board. And let me say lastly, in quotes of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., we will not remember the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends.
Thank you. Next speaker, Mr. Lucius Jones. Please set the timer for 5 minutes for Mr. Jones' ADA accommodation.
Lucius Jones, 107 Ivy Street, Newark, New Jersey. I'd like to first say thank you to past chairperson Tony Richardson. I think that it is evident that it does not matter who is president or chair of this board, Cammie doesn't plan to comply to anybody. Because you have a new chair and you have new members on the board, but yet and still she doesn't show. So that means that all of the conversations that you've had with the board in your president's, when you gave your president announcement at the beginning of every meeting were valid. This is about silencing the community. I say also I give thanks to the security and the special police who have sat in here and who have been very transparent and have been very, very concerned about how we're treated as human beings, in addition to Ms. Wilson and General Counsel. I also say to you that people have been coming before this board for months and months and months and years. You now see children up here over and over and over again. My experience when I got up this morning and jumped into the shower and received a phone call from my 15-year-old who told me, Daddy, I'm in a rally out in front of University High School and I'm getting ready to march to Cedar Street. Well, I immediately threw on my shorts and my shirt and grabbed my daughter out of her bed and said, my 25-year-old said, let's go. And this is why I said, let's go. Can you imagine the walk that those kids went through from Clinton Place to 2 Cedar Street? Can you imagine 90-degree temperature, 90-degree temperature, and they were still marching and moving forward? Can you imagine the number of police cars, 60 and 70 cop cars blocking off the street all the way to 2 Cedar Street? Board members, this whole Cammie stuff has created such a chaos that there is no learning going on. And we continue to sit here and have conversations every day, every month at this board meeting while our children are not learning. But if you go to other board meetings, South Orange, Livingston, they're talking about academics. They're talking about meeting the achievement gap. They're talking about what it takes in their budget. But not here in Newark. We're fighting to be even considered as human beings. Board members, what I suggest, some of the things you do, board president, is that I think that instead of having summer break, I suggest the board convene a meeting in the month of July, because I think that also begins to hold Cammie Anderson accountable, because Cammie waits until the summer months to execute her plan when everybody's on vacation. And we wake up in September and the plan has been implemented. So we have said over and over again, board members, we have said over and over again, perception is power. You have to now also hold Cammie Anderson accountable. Do you know that when she removed the principal out of Ivy Hill Elementary on January 16th, and the PTO president, that they organized out of Reuben Roberts' office, I believe, to reorganize the PTO on February the 4th? Do you know that, board members? Do you know that she had put in place to change the PTO to a PTA? Cammie Anderson is participating in organized corruption, and it's up to the board. You said you wanted to be treated as a board and respected as a board. You know what financial, Jersey City already told this board what having financial control really means. And they told you there's no control like local control. And that's what we want. That is the bottom line. One Newark gotta go, Cammie Anderson gotta go, and guess what? You must make it happen on our behalf. You got students meeting with the commissioner, but you board members have to make it happen, period. And that's what I have to say to you tonight, because I come here every single month and I see us do the same old routine over and over and over again. And you know what? That's insanity. I had to walk with my daughter. I had no cane walking down Clinton Avenue. No cane, because I wasn't prepared for them kids to walk down a two-seater street. And I'm telling you right now, it is dangerous what we're doing. If you don't think the parents care, then you should care enough to tell Cammie she should resign, or the commissioner that she should resign, because enough is enough. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Next speaker is Maureen Robinson, followed by Lauren Williams.
Maureen Robinson, 428 Doyle Street, Elizabeth, New Jersey. Didn't prepare a speech, but I want to just say, let you know that I did get my desk, and to say thank you. I don't know who tied the fire, but I got my desk, all right? The other thing I want to know, for those of us who do extended day at 4 o'clock, when are we going to get paid, okay? And I haven't been paid since October when I started with the extended program. Since this board doesn't have any local control power, I'll voice my concerns about handicap accommodations to the commissioner. The question I would have to pose, I want the young people to know that I'm really proud of them and really impressed with them. And I want you to know that you have some old school people here who did the sit-ins back in the 60s. We're well into our 70s. I'm not going to point to her now, but we're into our 70s and we did this, and when we did it, we shut down things, period. Nobody went to school, okay? My question, I want you to do some critical thinking, young people. I want you to do some critical thinking. The question I want to put before you is, who do you think Cammie Anderson takes her orders from? I want you to know that she's not doing this by herself, okay? In order to kill a snake, you got to cut the head off, okay? And lastly, I want to say to you is, do you know of any charter school in any suburban school district?
Thank you. Next speaker, Ms. Lauren Williams, followed by Julissa Vasquez.
Lauren Williams, 403 South Orange Avenue. Good evening. Every month I come up to the podium for this month's installment of NPS Foolery. This month I had the privilege of reading the actual reports of how NPS spends its money. In other words, I've seen every check written in March and April of this year. What continues to amaze me is how any board member could dare vote to approve Cammie's budget for the 2014-15 school year. Shame on you. Furthermore, April's documents revealed that Newark Public Schools spent $23,767.95 on takeout. I repeat, 23767.95. Staggering, I know. It boggles the mind to think how a district that's closing schools would have the audacity to spend $24,000 on lunch for 1 month. Let's break that figure down to the penny and in chronological order. For checks dated April 4th, pizza $2,120. Custodies catering, $1,947.95. Sandwiches unlimited, $300. Hobbies Deli, $2,722.30. Urban Chicken, $600. For checks dated 4/11 and 4/17, sandwiches unlimited again, must be good, $600. Vonda's Catering, $312.50. For checks dated 4/22, 4/23, and 4/25 respectively. Seafood Palace, $294. Robert's Pizzeria, $845. Custodies Catering, $879.20. Blimpie's, $1,326. Luigi's, $2,528. King's Family Restaurant, $9,943. Urban Chicken, $600 again. Astounding, isn't it? Sounds like a feast fit for a queen and then some. So let me ask you this. Who's been eating this feast? Where was this feast served? And for what generous occasion? What's more, if $24,000 is what NPS spends on takeout for what month? What's the total for 12 months? Is it too much to ask for Cammie to brown bag her lunch? Moreover, I find it fascinating that Urban Chicken is located in Montclair, of all places. Doesn't Cammie know that the best chicken is right up the street? They don't call Ambassador Chicken crack chicken for nothing. But I digress. What I'm really trying to say is the gross misappropriation of funds that never benefits the children. This is money that never leaves Cedar Street. This is $24,000 that could help fund the $600,000 it takes to run Newark Evening. A school that, despite what you've said here tonight, we still haven't had an update since February, and there are over 50 witnesses from Newark Evening who can confirm that. Evening students, please stand and show the human face to our program. So maybe board members, other than Donald Jackson, can finally take an interest. Thank you.
Next speaker, Ms. Julissa Vasquez. Next speaker, Ms. Julissa Vasquez. Next speaker, Ms. Oh, I'm sorry.
Julissa Vasquez, 120 Littleton Avenue. I want to applaud the students.
Hold on, Ms. Vasquez. Could we please have order so that Ms. Vasquez can address the board? Can we please have order so that the speaker can address this board? Ms. Vasquez, my apologies. Ms. Vasquez, please proceed.
I want to applaud the students today from University High School for their walkout. I just want to say, if you look, there's a petition online. It's called Save University High School, Principal Sharp and her administrating team. On Facebook by Lisa Lopez. Look it up, sign up the petition. My daughter go to University High School. When she came home on Friday and told me that this was happening, she's like, Mom, guess what Cammie's doing to me again? And I said, what? She said she is getting rid of my principals and turning my school into a charter school. Mind you, my daughter came from a renewed school. She said she is doing it again. And I said, you know what, baby, don't worry about it, because we're going to put a stop to this. Because people need to start realizing that Newark plan is not going to work. It's not going to work. This is crazy. I don't know how people, or I don't know how she sleeps at night, because it stresses me. I think about it all the time. How could I help my child and even other students from the city of Newark? How could you sleep at night and say, I'm going to proceed with the One Newark plan, when many people from the community, from students to parents, are coming here all the time saying this One Newark plan is not going to work? Somebody needs to put a stop, either the president, because you know Governor Christie is not going to do nothing. Yeah, board members, could we do something about this? Because enough is enough. We have students doing walkouts, sitting at Cedar Street, saying there's no need for that. There is no need for that. Another thing I wanted to mention is, at Camden Street School, we had one of the CEOs going over to New York City looking for teachers. I don't know why is she doing that, because this is my second year at that renewed school, and the first year that this principal was in, he kept 20% of the staff and hired new staff members. This year come along, we got new staff members because they couldn't keep up with him. And for the following September, there's some staff member that he even hired, they're gonna leave because they can't take it. So I don't see why the CEO is going to New York City to look for teachers. It's pointless for her to look for teachers when we have great teachers here. We don't need teachers from Teaching for America. We have our own teachers here. Enough is enough. We need your board members to stand with us. Even the students say, Cammie, you have to go. Enough already. Pack your stuff and step out of Newark.
Thank you, Ms. Vasquez. Next speaker is Jamarius Jean-Renoir. Jamarius Jean-Renoir. Next speaker, Sanshika Porterfield. Sanshika Porterfield. Brandon Rippey.
Good evening. My name is Brandon Rippey. I'm a history teacher at Science Park High School, and I'm the chair of the Newark Education Workers Caucus. I want to first commend our students, who I think have actually all left the room at this point, but for their, what I can only call their inspiring action last week. The student union acted in the best traditions of true democracy. They collectively planned and collectively carried out an action that was designed to halt policies which were bad for them and bad for the public schools of Newark. And it got the attention from people who usually simply ignore them. They did the same thing that thousands of civil rights activists did in the 1950s and 60s during the fight for black rights in the United States, and they did the same thing that thousands and thousands of labor union activists did in the 1930s and 40s during the building of the labor rights movement during that time period. And ironically, they did the same thing that we teachers are told to teach. They thought critically for themselves, they acted extremely independently, okay, and they practiced what we would call active citizenship. But those students are smart enough to see that the rules of the game by which they're supposed to play are really rigged in favor of those with power to deflect their criticisms and keep it moving and constantly ignore them. But our students were smart enough to figure that out and go outside the box to challenge power in a different way. And this brings me to the second point that New Caucus wants to talk about tonight, and that's politics and power, particularly in the state of New Jersey. And what needs to be done not only to save public education in New Jersey and Newark, but to save the working class people of this city and other cities like it who are under these same types of attacks. And we need to clearly understand what we're up against in order to fight back. And we need to understand that what we're up against is a nationwide system of school financing that relies on the property tax as the primary method of funding the schools. And that creates a divide between decimated urban areas and more prosperous suburban areas that have to pay taxes, and they see some of those taxes going to public schools in urban areas. And since those suburban voters, many of whom are white, of course, no longer see themselves as one with the urban populations whose schools the state is helping to finance, they resent what they perceive to be the taking of their tax dollars and using it inefficiently in urban schools. And this leads those same suburban voters, again, mostly white, to turn to demagogues like Chris Christie and Cami Anderson, who promise that they'll cut their taxes and make government, and particularly public education, more efficient and more accountable to the market. And then combine those problems and forces with the power of capitalism. And then you have the money and power of a few dozen billionaires, not millionaires, but billionaires, who want to find a way to find a new market for their products and suck money out of the public sector while they wait to completely privatize the system and take it all for themselves. So these are the forces that we're up against. And by we, I mean all working class people, but in this context especially, I mean students, parents, teachers, our unions, and the few allies we have. And we count among our allies the new mayor, Ras Baraka, who we believe will be a strong advocate for us, but we need to be clear that against these other forces operating, he will be operating, initially at least, from a position of weakness. But there are reasons for hope.
Thank you, Mr. Rippey. Next speaker is Nancy Gianni. And following Ms. Gianni will be Leah Owens. Leah Owens. I was correct the first time.
My name is Nancy Gianni, and I'm a teacher at Alexander Annex. I too would like to commend the Newark students for standing up for their rights. They epitomize what the results of public education should look like. This is my 11th year in Newark Public Schools. It's also the most difficult year on so many levels, not only for me, but for everyone that I speak with throughout the district. This difficulty passes on to our students because our working conditions are our students' learning conditions. The One Newark plan is not the answer. Both on the surface and underneath, it undermines any promise of public schools in Newark being equitable to their affluent counterparts or delivering equal opportunities to all students. In fact, schools slated to be closed have been systematically starved of resources and necessary staff in efforts to justify this destruction taking place. As teachers, we are teaching with less support for our students. We're using more of our own money than ever for simple supplies to make it through the year. We have new curricula that is scripted and so focused on students showing evidence from the text that they rarely get to use their own critical thinking skills. Much is required is not age appropriate. There are things that I know my students need to be successful that are no longer part of the curriculum. We as teachers are being held accountable for our students passing state standardized tests, yet we are rarely, if ever, consulted about what we know best, how to teach. You have to ask, why are the voices of the community not being heard? This is the hidden curriculum at play. While Common Core is explicitly narrowing the objectives of public education, the hidden curriculum is implicit. It dictates to students, parents, and education workers their roles in the system, which is to be powerless, to be grateful for anything you are given, to do more with less, to follow the rules that are given to you, to behave or else. We keep hearing that Newark wants 100 excellent schools, but not 100 public schools, only 50. Why are we not pushing for 100 excellent public schools? We can make it happen if we work together as a community. This is what the Newark Promise Plan comes in. Together, we continue to stress that our public schools be excellent, especially with resources, smaller classrooms, education for the staff, and community involvement. Closing the local public schools and making the families have to go to schools that are further from their neighborhood makes no sense at all. Making families have to put their children in 3 or 4 different schools, or making a family have to select a charter school just to keep their child in the neighborhood school makes no sense and is not acceptable. My school is being closed and given to North Star. Alexander Annex is an early childhood school, therefore we are not a failing school, but we are prime real estate. The One Newark plan has totally disrupted and forever changed the lives of our students. Our families were originally told that all existing Alexander students would be placed at North Star, but now they're being told something different. Right now, we service students in pre-K to 8th. Next year, North Star will only house kindergarten to 4th grades. The students that have received their North Star acceptance letters have had to take an admission test, and more is yet to come. Families were told by North Star that if they're late picking up their children, they'll be charged 25 cents per minute. They were told that students arriving to school out of uniform, which will cost them $300 per child, will not be allowed to go to class. They were even told that students arriving wearing boots would not be allowed past the main doorway. In addition, the cost for after-school programs will be $100 per quarter per child. Is this what we want for public education to be? I close with these remarks. We, the Newark Education Workers Caucus, are willing to speak out against injustice and willingly join anyone who does the same. Charter schools, longer school days, and especially the One Newark plan do not equate to a better education. We are not willing to sacrifice our human and civil rights. Are you?
Thank you. Next speaker, Leah Owens, followed by Vanessa Mosey.
Good evening. My name is Leah Owens, 189, 191 Hunterdon Street. I'm a founding member of Newark Education Workers Caucus, a former teacher in the district, and an organizer. In spite of being up against these larger systems that Brandon pointed out, Mayor-elect Baraka can and will be effective. But it won't solely be because of him. It'll mostly be because of us, as long as we're organized. Do you know why the Newark Students Union was so successful in the occupation of the 10th floor of 2 Cedar Street? Because they are organized. They meet, they deliberate, they strategize, they plan, and they take action. We need to take a lesson from them. Happily, they're not the only example we can point to. Newark Promise is the result of being organized. Ras Baraka's win is the result of being organized. New Caucus's March 18th shutdown of Broad and Market is the result of being organized. Whether it's community organizing, political organizing, or labor organizing, they all follow the same principles. Build relationships, develop common understandings, and take actions. But don't just get involved, get organized. Students, get organized with the Newark Students Union or student government at your school. school. Parents, get organized with the Newark Parents Union, Pulse, or the PTA or PTO at your child's school. Workers, get organized with your union. Make it work for you by working for it. Residents, get organized with the NAACP, your church, or your mosque. Education workers, break down those classroom and office walls and come together. Join your building committee, start a building committee, be active in your union. If they don't ask you to help, go to them and ask how you can help. In fact, there's an NTU meeting, executive board meeting tomorrow at 4 p.m. at the Union Hall. Attend. If none of these options work for you, if you can't find any existing organization that reflects your values and vision, then start one. You can keep waiting for Superman if you want, but at some point, you must realize we are the ones we have been waiting for. I leave you with a remake of Martin Niemöller's famous poem, First They Came. First they came for the veteran teachers, and I did not speak out because I was not a veteran teacher. Then they came for the teachers of color, and I did not speak out because I was not a teacher of color. Then they came for the certified teachers, and I did not speak out because I was not a certified teacher. Then they came for the teachers who are outspoken, and I did not speak out because I was not outspoken. Then they came for the students, and I did not speak out because I was no longer a student. Then they came for me, even though I didn't cause them any trouble by speaking out, because I too eventually started to cost too much and no one was left to speak for me.
Thank you, Ms. Owens. The next speaker we have is Vanessa Mosey, followed by Samuel Matto.
Good evening, I'm a parent, Vanessa Mosey. I have 3 children in 3 different schools in the Newark area. My concern is I have a student at 13th Avenue. I went to pick her up for early dismissal, and I was locked out of the school. They locked the doors at 13th Avenue from 2:30 to 3:40. I had told the teacher prior that I would be picking her up for this sick visit. I was not allowed to enter the building. They did not dismiss her out the building. What are the policies for this? And this almost happened again, except some phone calls were made, and I was able to go to a side door to pick her up. I don't think this is fair. I called the board, I called the police, I spoke to the person in the office. They answered the phone, they took my name, they took the student's name, they hung up. I called back, nobody would answer the phone. This is what's going on. So I'd like to know what's going to be done about it, and what is this policy?
Get rid of these chief innovation officers that don't have certification. That's what you do. Fire her like a previous.
So, Ms. Mosey, the information that you just stated was brought forward and was shared with the rest of the board members. Mr. Jackson and Ms. Matthias were reaching out to Peter Tunanium in order to get that information from you.
He called me, and he was really, I'm gonna say really curt. He didn't want to hear really my concerns or my issues. And he just told me to do what he said to do. And I said, well, this same thing is about to happen again because this is an autistic student. She has appointments at least maybe twice monthly. So you never know. I called, and almost the same thing. That same clerk that answered the phone said, the doors are locked from 2:30 to 3:40. And I said, this is unbelievable.
Do you happen to know the name of that clerk?
No, I don't know her name, but I know which one. I could find out. It's not easy to, it's not difficult.
So, to answer your question as far as the policy is concerned, the attendance policy states obviously that as parents or guardians coming to pick up children have to make a notification to the school, which you've done. There's a larger issue here, obviously, with the schools being locked and you or any other parent in the district not being allowed to come in.
It shouldn't matter. It wasn't like I was just coming to take her to sit on the park bench.
Nah,
it was an emergency.
Understand, I'm not saying that.
They did not care.
I
They
understand.
did not open the door.
So we'll take this matter and address this, and we'll follow up with you. Would you mind giving your email address to Ms. Valerie Merritt so that we can follow up with you on this matter, ma'am?
To who?
Ms. Valerie Merritt on the front row, please. Next speaker is Samuel Matto. Samuel Matto. Stacy Nelson. Stacy Nelson. Ms. Wilhelmina Holder.
good evening. First, I want to say before my time starts that the bathroom is filthy. This is a elementary school, and I'm just appalled. There's no soap in there. The floor is filthy. The water, half the sinks are not working. So I don't know what's going on. But if they don't clean it up when we're here, the public is here, can you imagine these little brown babies having to endure this kind of unsanitary conditions on a daily basis? Go in the bathrooms. The other issue is that I signed up myself, Willie Rowe and Lyndon Brown to speak. I did not see Willie Rowe's name on the list. Would someone please check out why he was eliminated from this list? Now I'll go with the clock. I'm disappointed, to say the least. I'm proud of our students and their actions the last couple of weeks. I witnessed a lot of that, and I stood there as long as my legs would allow me to. And I did see that there was some disparity, some misinformation, and some disrespect for the entire community when our children are denied food and water, and was told by general counsel there will be no more food going up there for the children. And I was just appalled. I just couldn't believe it. As a grandmother, as a mother, as an activist myself, sitting on the floors for some of the same things to happen for people like you, board members who are younger than I, to have the kind of positions you have. It was totally disrespectful, and I expect you to step up and ensure that our children are properly secured and properly cared for. The other issue is that, and there are many, this parent that I was at the PTA meeting where I'm on the 13th Avenue PTA, she's absolutely correct. No one can get in that school if there's an emergency. No one can get in that school. They don't answer the doorbell. They don't answer the phone. And Peter Terranium is well aware of it, so don't say go back to the source of the problem. Get to the problem as the board member, because certainly if we're going back to local control, there's a few of you that probably should be removed. Because we cannot play both sides of the fence. We have to be real in what we're doing. The other issue I'm talking about is some facility issues. Now, I want to know the person that's in charge of facility now, do they have certifications or licenses to be in charge of facilities? And did the superintendent go and get a special waiver? Because the facilities, the reason why this is important, when we're retrofitting schools moving forward, if they're not licensed, they don't have a boiler license, they don't have licenses, certifications, and they don't know anything about ADA, are you serious about renewing schools for our children? Who's in charge of that on the board? Who's looking into that research? Also, the consultant issue is a big issue for me. To know that they're eating well and children don't have books, and we're spending $1,000 a day on consultants, and the Facebook money is basically gone, and no one's asking questions about where the money went, where the investigation is, and you're not sharing information with us. I need the board to look into the EW pool instead of hiring all these other folks. Go in the pool and get those qualified principals, teachers out of that pool so we can have a teacher in every classroom and an administrator, a nurse, and all of the support system that's needed in every building. Because it is certified, because it's ridiculous what's going on in terms of expenditures. And I need some help here from the board. I need a reporting out. You don't have to wait until a monthly meeting comes. You need to call a meeting yourself. Grow a pair. Isn't that what the expression is? Grow a pair and have a community meeting with the community so we know exactly what's going on. We're not privy to some of the documents you are privy to, but yet they're not all personnel documents. There's information that should be shared with the community so you can inform the community. I meet with the parents from the East Ward on Friday nights. None of you guys are there. And you're not asking questions. We're meeting up in the West Ward. None of you guys are there, and you're not asking questions. But more importantly, you're not sharing information so that informed decisions can be made by me as a grandmother, by my daughters as parents, and other parents. Shutting down neighborhood schools like Westside, the attempt to shut down Westside Evening is criminal. It is criminal. I don't know if you know, but a condition of release for some of the people who are incarcerated is to go get their education, especially if they come out of Delaney Hall. And where should they go? The West Side Evening. They shouldn't be scattered all over. I've gone to those graduations where I saw 60-year-old mothers and grandmothers getting their diploma with pride. You cannot close a jewel like Newark Evening and not say anything about it. Nor can you corrupt West Side during the day and bring in Newark Vocational without resources. How are you going to have culinary arts? We don't have a kitchen, people. I've met with the assistant super. There's no kitchen. There's no resources there. It's not a fully integrated 21st century program they're talking about. They don't even know who's coming to the school, who's running the school, who's doing anything. That's what One Newark is. Who's doing what? Who's in charge? The Donald Duck dynasty? Who's in charge of this system? Actually, people, we're in charge. And it's time to get behind Newark Promise. And if the board doesn't do what we need them to do, run them out of town with Cammie Anderson. No, do not give her an airplane ticket. I want her on the Greyhound bus on the seat next to the bathroom. Have any of you ever been on that?
Thank you, Ms. Holden.
Okay, so Mr. Chair, I need you to step up. I know you can. Ask the hard questions about the money.
And also the university students, and also the night school students. They deserve everything that they stood for. Now, along with the lady that mentioned about the 13th Avenue School, because my name is Sean Williamson, I live at 56 South 14th Street in Newark. My daughters go to 13th Avenue School. I'm on the PTA, trying to help out the president, Lyndon Brown, for education and safety. Safety stinks. And you as the board are supposed to have our backs and look after our students. They are locking the schools down because they don't want parents to come and get their own kids. What sense does that make? That's our kids. We should be able to come see our kids, what they're doing in school, without rules, without restrictions. What is this? Why is people standing here not letting the parents make choices what goes on in the school system? What kind of backbone does our board has that we cannot stand up to Cammie Anderson and Christie and support and bring the school systems local back to Newark? This doesn't make any sense. Kids got backbones and doing boycotts. But our board members are sitting here and doing nothing. Money is being passed around to Newark to help the school systems, and we're not seeing it. All the decisions that are being made about One Newark stop and everything, did the parents make any of these decisions? Did the community even have anything to say about it? Have any one of y'all came down to 13th Avenue to see how the conditions are run? Alexander Street School, West Side, any of these schools. They're building a charter board of education across the street from y'all. That means y'all gonna be history soon. Just like we're gonna be history. Public schools are gonna be history. Y'all gonna sit there and let this happen? Y'all not gonna stand up for the students here? All of y'all probably graduated from a public school. But now they're gonna be closed down and y'all accepting this? Y'all gonna stand here and just not do anything? Starting this summer, we are gonna start to take action. If y'all can't get Cammie Anderson up out of that seat, if y'all don't have the balls to talk to Christie and say we're not taking this anymore, us communities, activists, parents, students, we're gonna take our city back ourselves.
Thank you, Mr. Williamson. Next speaker is Mr. Lyndon Brown.
Good evening. Lyndon Brown, 220 South 6th Street, Newark. First, let me congratulate our elementary coaches and cheerleaders and players on a very productive season. I attended numerous games these past several months, and I was very pleased with the parent attendance and the professionalism of our security and our coaches. All the games went very well, and I would like to see some of our board members come out and support our children at some of these events. We don't have our superintendent coming out. I don't see our assistant superintendents. Our kids need to see you at some of these events. Secondly, let me commend and encourage each and every student who speaks out on behalf of their schools and their education and on behalf of their peers, even those in the viewing audience. You have the right to speak out, and we have your backs. Thirdly, I am requesting a status report on how many of our students passed the HESPA. Next month is graduation month. We need to know how many of our students have passed, will graduate, how many have to go to summer school, how many passed the math, and how many didn't pass the verbal. We need it reporting out. If you can't get that information from the superintendent, you should get it from the state. But we need to know the status of our children, how well they're progressing at the high school level. I want to commend former board member Altariq Kinney. And last year, Altariq voted, and he voted his conscience. Newark Public Schools had a pilot program, the Turnaround Model Program, which got a $1 million grant for Newark Public Schools to come into our schools and do some intervention with our students. They wanted to do 30 schools, but Altariq was that board member that said, no, let's just do 2 or 3 schools. This is a pilot program. Well, Turnaround program, they took that $1 million and they subleased that contract to New Community Corporation, who has the Family Service Bureau, gave them about $100,000 and kept the other $900,000 for themselves. Since then, we've had over 100, 200 incidents in our schools. We've had bullying, we have arson. These are in the 3 schools that have these programs. We've had theft, we've had multiple incidents of bullying and fighting, and yet, we have renewed that contract for another year. So I want you guys to look at when you're, giving these grants to these agencies, how well, our students are progressing with these interventions or how they're not progressing, and not give them another year contract, because they leased that contract to a program who did not have educators, certified social workers and guidance counselors coming to our schools. They sat around, each morning, twice a month, telling the kids how to have morning circle time, which is a charter school model. And our kids have more deeper, issues than that. And we really need to look at that. Next, I want to express my dismay and dissatisfaction with the instructional reclassifications that I saw in our board minutes tonight. I see a lot of our interim principals have been made permanent. Just this past March, without any implementation, any consultation, any sort of school leadership council input. Our school leadership councils, our parents had no input on who their principals would be, and you are sitting here making people permanent who had NJS scores go from 12% to 4% proficiency under their leadership, who had 100 incidents of bullying and assaults and arson under their leadership, who have honor roll assemblies and do not invite the children without their parents' presence. These things need to stop, and we need to look at who we're putting. I want to commend, whoever placed Mr. Outlaw at Rafael Hernandez. That was a good move. But there are a few other administrators who need to be removed, and 13th Avenue School is one of them. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. The next speaker is Donna Jackson, followed by Natasha Allen.
Good morning. Donna Jackson, 920 Broad Street, Mayor of the City of Newark. So let's get it started here. I am upset that we even had this meeting this evening. It is not making us look good. It's not about your egos. It's not about business being conducted, because it's not being. It is about us deciding at some point we're going to stand up. I just need to know when. The students have done all they're supposed to do. I don't know what's going on with the staff. I don't know why they lack backbone. When the kids walk, they should walk. I don't understand it. You're already going to be retrained, redefined, reapplied, rehired, fired in the next 6 months all over again. And the fact that we stand here now and our board still thinks that you should conduct business is out of this world. What in the heck do you think you're accomplishing? What? Nothing. Not a thing. You go through this agenda, And it's her agenda. Mr. Hassan, you didn't set this agenda for tonight. It's not your agenda. It's her agenda. And I guess that's why when she held her press conference in front of Sussex Avenue School, her second sentence was, my board president said. I said, ooh, wow. I thought we elected you. And I'll be honest, I didn't vote for you, so ain't no problem with me, but the rest of the people did, because I didn't agree. Because I knew that we would go in this direction. But all I'm going to stand here and say is this, because I say what I say. See, I'm not going to be like everybody else, shim-sham and flim-flamming around. It is what it is. And I don't have time to play with y'all no more. We are losing lives because of this. Staff is committing suicide because of this. People are having heart attacks, triple bypass because of this. There are no more meetings. What you talking about? Nothing. Not nothing. What kids' lives are you improving? None. They set the bathroom on fire last Thursday at Westside. What you doing? And now you want to send 2 more schools into a pit of hell. Because you know what hell is? Fire. They burned the bathroom Thursday. That ain't figuratively, that's what the hell happened. Fire in the bathroom. Y'all ain't been up in there. And how dare you go over to Hawthorne Avenue School and tell them you're going to save the building? Brick already in there. So who you lying to again, sir? And you can answer me when you want to, but you went over to Hawthorne for what? You can't promise them nothing. You can't, because Brick is already contracted to go in there. And we sit here today, and I'm going to end with this. And Ms. Anderson is forcing staff, as of today, to send those One North applications home in kids' book bags. She's forcing staff. She's forcing staff to fill those One North applications out for parents who she know is not going to come in without the parental signature. And we still sit here and act like you did something big and bad tonight because you withdrew 2 little resolutions. Really? No, that's not it. At the time you guys are ready to stand and be bold and let your egos be to the side, because it ain't about you. It's about the children in the school system. And the moment that you're ready, Newark Public School Board, I don't agree with nothing we did, nothing. But the moment you're ready to send this governor a message that you're going to stand for these children and stop doing this little nonsense, conducting Ms. Anderson's business, you ain't did nothing tonight. Show some balls, come in the meeting and walk out. We will not meet until the governor hears us. We will not meet until the kids are answered. We will not meet until you tell these kids where they're going to go. We will not meet until the kids are matched to the schools they're supposed to be in. We will not meet until the kids stop being pimped and we are about education and you get some guts and do what you're supposed to do. And Mr. Hassan, lastly, let me tell you this. You better put that ego in a damn bag and get up there and do what you're supposed to do. Because if you can't, walk your ass off the stage.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. Last speaker for this evening, Ms. Natasha Allen.
Good evening. You know, basically what I wanted to say, everybody said. But one of the most important things, and I think that it should really strike home with you guys, is that none of us elected Cammie Anderson as our superintendent. You know, for whatever reason and for whatever our choices were, there are those of you on the board that whoever voted for you, we voted for you to have a voice as the Newark Public School Advisory Board. I remember a few months ago, there was a meeting and Rashawn, you were really adamant about not being referred to as the advisory board. You wanted to be, whatever you guys want to be called. But at this point, what was it, Board of Election, whatever it was, you know, you guys aren't even, because I don't want to say all of you as a whole, and I don't like to make blanket statements. So for those of you that it applies to, you know who it applies to. But I think that it's disgusting that we have people whose children attend charter schools who sit on the Newark Public Advisory Board. I feel like you're straddling the fence. Because if you have children in charter schools and our biggest pushback is against charter schools, then how can you stand and fight for our Newark Public students when your children attend these cushiony charter schools, where you're totally taking over our school buildings? You know, some people have made mention to it. You know, Newark Vocational is the only public vocational school that we have in Newark. Westside High School is not equipped to house their curriculum, their tracks. I don't have a problem with Westside students. I have a problem with Cammie Anderson's puppets that are in there allowing the destructive behavior going on. Because one thing we all know as adults is when we didn't have any guidance and nobody told us you need to be here at a certain time and do certain things, you could just run amok. If your aunt and your grandmother and your cousins, if mama was at work and everybody just let you run around and do what you wanted to do, you did exactly that. And so our students are young adults. They are still children. And they are adults in training. So we're not going to train them like puppies, but we have to get somebody in there that's stern and with some backbone and somebody that they can respect. Because respect is key. And you guys are disrespectful because you make all of these, not even decisions, they don't make decisions. You make all of these empty promises to people. You're gonna go here, you're gonna do this, you're gonna fight this fight, you're gonna do this thing, and you're doing nothing. You're sitting around playing with your phones, because although this is a volunteer, your job is cushiony. When you have babies in charter schools, your kids are going to be affected too, so we ain't going to even leave them out of this equation at this point, because the charter schools are not equipped to handle all of the children that Cammie Anderson is lying, telling people she got the numbers for. My daughter better not never touch that One Newark program. I dare anybody at Newark Vocational to put a One Newark program with my name on it. I know that my daughter is going to Newark Vocational High School next year, and I'll be damned if it's in West Side building. You got to take care of what's in the building first before you add other elements to it. I'm going to need somebody to stand up and offer a solution. How about we help each other? Y'all outside knocking on doors, calling people phones, begging for votes. What did we vote for you for? What did we vote for you for? What have you done? What have you done for us? We keep coming here. Y'all ain't held this chick feet to the fire. We waiting. We got all of these schools are begging. How we begging the chick that get paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to hold the meeting to tell us the future of our children? It makes no sense. You got West Side parents can't figure it out. Newark Vocational parents can't figure it out. Her open door policy, it must be locked like 13th Avenue School, because nobody can, she invisible. When y'all gonna hold this chick to the fire? But at the end of the day, we need to be clear, because it's not just Cammie Anderson. We gotta get Cory Booker nonsense, because he brought her here. He introduced her to our city. He ain't gone. He the senator. He up for re-election in November. Let's be clear, he ain't go nowhere. We gave him more status. But we gotta hold these people's feet to the fire. I'm sick of coming here begging somebody, oh, what's she gonna do, what's she gonna do? The lie that Tiffany Hardrick told us in January 16th was that they don't have money to bring the Newark Vocational building up to par for our students to return. My question still remains from February. Well, where you gonna get the money to make it an office building? Because I know it costs more.
Thank you, Ms. Allen. That ends our public participation. Do we have any items, any motions that need to be brought forward to this floor for any old and new business at this point in time? If there's anything that needs to be followed up on by committee members, ask that those items be referred to the chairs of those respective committees so they can care for that information.
Yes, may I have the floor?
Is there a motion that you want to bring to the floor for some old business?
I'm sorry?
Is there a motion that you want to bring to the floor for old business?
No, it's not a motion.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I mean, actually, I wanted to just respond to some of the speakers, to some of what was said by the speakers today. So I don't know if you want me, is it old or new business or response to the
If you
speaker?
have response that need to be addressed for the speakers, if anybody left the information, we want to follow up with them formally.
No,
Is it something
sir.
that hasn't been addressed already?
No, that's not what it is. It's commentary on some of the comments that were made by the speakers this evening.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. So this is just in general response to what was said by some of the speakers this evening, and I guess it kind of overlaps, you know, with old and new business in a sense. And first of all, in reference to the students from the Newark Students Union, I just wanted to say that because I did stay with them last Tuesday evening, and I was also in the meeting this afternoon with them, with Commissioner Hespy, and I think that everything that has been said about them this evening is all really true, and the professionalism, the loyalty, the solidarity, and the clarity of purpose that they exhibit is something that I think that we as adults, we need to take a look at, because they're really modeling what we should do if we want to get anything done. They act as a unit. I have no idea in that group who's good friends, who's just acquaintances. They act with clarity of purpose, and they don't seem to act out of any sort of personal kind of motivations. And I just think that, you know, I just had to say that because over this last week, I've really had the opportunity to spend time with them and to really observe them, and also to say thank you to Jordan, because your message today was particularly clear, particularly solid, and the solidarity that you showed and the responsibility that you took tonight, I think it really has to be commended. I think that everyone who really cares about education and children in Newark are on the same page, and hopefully those who aren't are kind of coming to the same page. So my remarks just basically have to do with the level of unity that I see. We know it's not perfect, but I see a level of unity. I think that the people who spoke about what happened at University High School, that it's horrible, but it's another act that is bringing our community together, and that we have to keep our eyes on the prize, which is local control. Because we had local control, none of these things would be happening. And I just wanted to say that.
Thank you.
Just two things. Ms. Mosey, I believe if I'm saying the name right, last month's board meeting, she brought this to my attention before we convened and got started with the process, and I raised this question in old and new business last month. And she had been in talks with some people at 2 Cedar Street. I'm not too sure if, well, being that she came to the meeting tonight and spoke, I don't know if the situation was resolved or if there was some clarity, but in light of me being aware of what the policy is, so what's the next step with Ms. Mosey and retrieving her student? Because we don't want this to be a repeating thing. And this has happened more than once at a few different locations, and I will come back with the actual locations, but this happened. This is not only the one-time incident, particularly at this school. So I want to know, what do we do as a board and move forward with this plan?
I would say first and foremost, obviously we had the reports, we had that information. Schools are being locked down. Obviously that's not, first and foremost against the law, it's a safety hazard for our students. And to drive accountability, you know, from a board's perspective, in addition to having those conversations with the superintendent, we also need to make sure that we're reporting any of these inefficiencies or violations of law, not only to the county superintendent, but to the Commissioner of Education here as well, so that we could drive accountability. So I think that's our first step to making sure that we get this issue addressed at this point. Ms. Matias did state that she was reaching out to the assistant superintendent of that network. So I do want to check with her. She wasn't here, obviously, to get that information, but I would like to check with her, and then we can take the next steps.
Right, okay. And just for another point of clarification, I just want to address the community with this one concern. I just want to let you know that the position I had before I got on this board is the same position that I hold now. I am in 100% in support of the students, 100% in support of the community, and if that means no one Newark, then that means no one Newark.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson. No other business being before this board. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Mr. Sellinger, second. Jackson, all in favor, motion adjourn.
Aye.
Any opposed? Good night, meeting adjourned.
Thank you.